We all know that looking at Ukraine, energy is the core of a society. Without energy, we don't have power. Without power, we don't have anything in society. And energy is maybe the highest on the agenda, also in digitalization, for multiple reasons. We actually lead in energy technologies. We have the world's best champions in this. Many of them, unfortunately, earn their big scalable money outside Europe, but increasingly also in Europe. So when you have a problem of high energy prices, you can choose two things. You can try to abandon the pricing mechanism and destroy everything you have built, or you can try to innovate your way out of it. And when you sit on the very technologies that can actually make this revolution, let's work with what we have. Let's make sure that we do not break down what we have, but that we innovate our way out of the problems that we have. For Digital Europe, we have been enhancing this sector of digital technologies for energy through our Energy Executive Council. Our president is chairing that, Peter Wesecker from Schneider. And today on stage in a minute, I will welcome our chairs, which is Sabine, the CEO of Grid Software and Siemens, and Alexandros Pedakis, the deputy CEO of an executive board member of PPC Group, and exactly Peter, who is the CDO of Schneider Electric and the president of Digital Europe. But before that, I want to welcome on stage a fellow Dane, someone who is really trying to take the very the energy issues of Europe in his hand and solve them. Someone I have deeply respect on for taking this challenge, and we would stand right behind him, both in creating increased resilience in energy as the core fundamental pillar of stability in society, and of course in making cheaper energy prices across Europe so we can basically digitalize and electrify our society. With that, let me welcome on stage Commissioner Dan Jørgensen, responsible for energy in Europe. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. So, I'll give my prepared speech in a minute, but I want to just start somewhere else because yesterday the President von der Leyen and two of my colleagues from the Commission and myself returned from a visit in Kiev, and we're now entering the 5th year of this terrible war. And the war is, of course, absurd and evil and illegal for so many reasons, but there's one dimension that is becoming more and more important, and that is the energy sector in Ukraine. From day one, Russia has targeted the energy sector, and they have bombed approximately 5,800 energy facilities. This has, of course, repercussions, not only directly, so it's lack of electricity, it's lack of heating, it's lack of water, it's lack of so many of the most basic needs. For digitalization, obviously, it's a catastrophe. Out of those 5,800 attacks, 4,000 of them was last year. So it shows you that they've increased, and it shows you that the brutality and also the ability of the Russian war machine, unfortunately, has gone up. And we are doing whatever we can from the European Union side to help. We are providing significant funding. We're helping with expertise, we're helping coordinate donors. And one of the outcomes of the meeting with President Zelensky and President von der Leyen the day before yesterday was that we will now set up a Ramstein-inspired group of energy ministers and myself in the G7 plus context, in which we will coordinate the efforts to make sure that the people of Ukraine do not freeze, that they have electricity, that the industry can keep producing, and so forth. Because it's a question of money, of course, yes, but actually right now it's mostly a problem of getting the right material, the generators, the pumps, so forth. So, on that very serious note, and I want to also say this because I know that there are many in this room representing companies that are indeed very active and helping in Ukraine, and I want to thank you so much for that, because keeping the society running, having an economy that provides jobs and income is extremely important, and also hopefully we will soon be in a situation where there will be a peace and the country needs to be rebuilt, and the industries that are there will also be rewarded for what is idealism now, I'm sure. Okay. Necessity is the mother of invention. This proverb is as old as Europe. It is written into our oldest stories and philosophers, from Aesop's fables to Plato's Republic. And it remains just as relevant today. Let's look at the current needs and necessities of Europe. In a time of global instability with a war on our borders, we need to reinforce our security. In a time of great economic powers to our east and to our west, we need to be more competitive. And in a time of rapid global warming, we need to decarbonize our economies faster than ever. Above all, we need to be independent so that we can meet these needs by ourselves, hand in hand with trusted partners. These are the most urgent necessities facing Europe. And from these necessities, digital technologies and AI have come forward as the most promising inventions. We can see this very clearly in the field of energy. From optimizing heating and cooling in our houses to modernizing the way we plan and operate our grids, digital technologies are already proving their value. And we are only starting to realize the value of AI. The International Energy Agency estimates that by using existing AI solutions in buildings alone, we could achieve global electricity savings of around 300 terawatt hours. That is the equivalent to the annual electricity generation for Australia and New Zealand combined. This is with existing solutions. And this is just one of the examples of the new possibilities brought to us by the digital and AI revolution. But where does Europe stand in this race? In the US, the AI strategy and the Genesis mission have placed AI as a strategic asset for the energy sector. In China, the National Plan for AI Energy Integration sets out to embed AI across the energy system. In the face of this competition, Europe cannot afford to fall behind, especially when we have what it takes to lead the race. If we combine our global leadership in industrial automatization with our cutting-edge research, we can deliver sovereign and secure AI models trained on European data. And by doing this, we can lead the next wave of intelligent energy technologies. We have earmarked 75 million euros under the Horizon Europe program specifically to unlock this potential. But while we know that the potential that AI holds for our energy system, we also know the challenges that it brings. According to the IEA, a typical AI-focused data center consumes as much electricity as 100,000 households. In Europe, data centers already account for around 3% of electricity consumption, In some countries, like Ireland, this figure is 20%. If we want Europe to step forward as a global hub for AI, then we must manage the energy footprint and ensure that we deal with the growth of the sector in a responsible way. This means designing and operating data centers with high energy performance standards. It means capturing waste heat from the sensors and using it for district heating and industrial processes. And it means reducing grid bottlenecks by locating new facilities in areas where abundant renewables are in place, and by planning and permitting in smarter, faster, and more predictable ways. We already work on these solutions with all stakeholders, from data center developers and energy producers to grid operators, national governments, and regulators. But to deliver these solutions at a European scale, we need a truly European strategy. Therefore, later this year, I will present a strategic roadmap for digitalization and AI in the energy sector. Our objective: to accelerate the deployment of AI in the energy sector while keeping the risks in check. This roadmap will identify how we can foster innovation, optimize our grids, and ensure that data centers consume energy in the most efficient manner possible. And here, I turn to you. As the industry leaders, the innovators, and the policymakers, we will need to transform the ambition of our roadmap into actions on the ground. Together, we can seize all the opportunities that AI and digitalization have to offer. Together, we can meet our most urgent needs for the clean transition, for a competitive economy, and for a secure and independent Europe. And together, we can turn this time of urgent necessity into a time of great invention. On this note, I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for coming to the Masters of Digital. Definitely one of the most important areas that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now it's on, I think, right? So very clear that innovation is the path forward, and I actually think on your way out, Commissioner, that I can tell you that in your mailbox you will have the 5 actions that we think should be in the plan, so you can write them in your strategy right away. So, with that, I'm really happy. One of the things that we did in Digital Europe is like, we have all the lawyers who can do all the nitty-gritty. What about this paragraph? How do we change? What is in this law? But we really also need executives to represent these sectors that needs to be transformed. And one of the things that we have done is to create an executive energy council, where we exactly gather pure players, so energy companies, with these digital champions to make sure that we get discussions that are cross-sectorial in how do we secure resilience of energy plants, how do we make new connectors, how do we optimize our energy grids, and how do we make sure that Europe carries that competitive edge in the ecosystem, because we do that today. And of course, you can have different strategies, you can have the skill, the things that you don't lead in, but you can also have keep and consolidate the leadership that you actually have. So as I said before, there are many ways of solving problems. Normally the best one of them is innovate your way out of a problem, because it creates new energy and amazing solutions that will take you to the next level. So I am very happy that the chairmanship of this Executive Energy Council, as I said before, is 3 amazing people. It's Sabine Erlinghagen, CEO of Grid Software Siemens. It's Alexandros Petarakis, I'm sorry if I say it correctly, Deputy CEO and Executive Board Member of Digital and Advanced Services for PPC, so an energy company. And Peter Vec Esser, the Chief Digital Officer of Schneider Electric and President of Digital Europe. Let me welcome you on stage to give us the perspective of the future of energy efficiency and optimization. Please. Thank you so much.
Yep. So, we are being a jazz band for the next 5 minutes. That means we are improvising a little bit, right? So, we were hoping to have this dialogue with the commissioner. Unfortunately, the commissioner had to leave a little bit early. So, change of plans, right? That happens at times. And now we need to show that we are flexible to respond to that. So let me maybe start, Alexandros, with the first question to you. When we think about, and we heard a lot of good inputs from the commissioner just a minute ago, when we think about the energy landscape in Europe and the competitiveness of energy costs, what does Europe need to do, and I guess need to do quickly, in order to make energy costs and prices competitive for all industries?
Wow, he threw me with a silver bullet and gave me 2 minutes. I think fundamentals are there. So Europe has what it takes. We have the skill, we have the technology, we have the experience. We're well ahead in a lot of these areas. I think what we've seen also, and we've heard also from Commissioner Jorgensen, the grid package is a very, very strong directional input, and it actually sets the foundations for us to achieve more. I think collaboration is what we'll need more. We've discussed it also in yesterday and today. Openness to share, whether it's data, information, models. This allows us to sort of crowdsource a lot of these problems. I think a second part is when we focus on one subject. So you mentioned electricity, sort of the cost of electricity. Obviously, everybody wants it to be free. It's a very complicated scenario. There's a lot of elements in there. So I think if we look at it from a broader perspective, each individual of those points can be addressable. So obviously there are costs which come from the energy type, but also there are ETS which we apply, and so on and so forth. So I think the fundamentals are there. I think we now have seen both the Commission and industry working in the right direction. From our perspective as a group, we've done a lot to basically deploy some of these at scale, and I can assure you that it actually works. We want to do more. There is some funding issues that we'd like to address. We want more. But I think in principle, it's what we have is there. I think the regulation and the framework is coming in play, and I think the industrial players are all ready to help. And I think it's us taking the reins back and getting what needs to be done.
Yeah. Thanks, Alexandros, and thanks for the segue to the industrial players. Sabine, next question to you. If you think of that journey forward into the new energy landscape, which for sure will be a more, maybe at some point, an all-electrical energy landscape. It includes the grid, it includes renewables. Can you share a little bit your view on how this has to come together and what Europe needs to do to make this work in the future?
I mean, grids are all of a sudden in the center of the discussion for 2 reasons. A, they are a big price driver for why electricity is not as affordable as it could be. And secondly, it's becoming the bottleneck. So for everyone who's trying to connect a data center or anything else to the grid, the waiting times are getting longer and longer. We're talking sometimes 10 to 12 years. So both not ideal to be competitiveness and to strive. So what's the solution to that? I mean, firstly, every electron that you don't consume is a good electron because it's the most efficient way of getting there. But obviously, the consumption is rising despite energy efficiency measures being in place for the exact reason that you said, like electrification is the name of the game. So if that is the case, then the next truth is if we can use more of the existing grid, then we also are faster in connecting, so getting the connection queues down, and we are cheaper. So what is the solution to using more of the existing grid? It's digitalization. And there we are coming back to the point. It's knowing how much capacity is left, running your grids closer to their limits. It's flying the airplane with 2 engines then instead of 4, like we had to do in the past. That is what digitalization can do, and that's where I think we are leading in Europe. And not only do we have leading utilities like PPC, like some others who are world leaders in applying those technologies, we also have powerhouses on the vendor side. So we really have what it takes to lead the way there. That would be my response.
Look, very good, and I think that really summarizes it all super well, right? Alexandros, on the one side, you talked about what policy and governance need to deliver, what companies need to contribute to this. Now, Sabine explained a little bit in this journey to the new energy landscape, which will be highly distributed. Grid plays the central role in this, right? And the message clearly is the technology is available today. It's not that we would need to wait for anything. The principles are understood. We need to electrify. We need to increase the amount of renewables. We need to increase the amount of battery storage in this grid. And most importantly, we need to make that grid of the future intelligent, to use the existing copper in the ground in a better and smarter way than this is possible today. To close this session, maybe if you have just one call for action, both for Europe, both for the policymakers and also for the companies in Europe, what would that be? Sabine, I start with you this time.
I would say to especially the utility audience, I would say dare to digitalize, dare to be bold. And to help that for the policy world, I would say incentivize digital and not prioritize copper.
For us, I think from a policy perspective, we use the term TOTEX. We want both capital investments and operating investments to be sort of equally treated and subsidized. I think that would help a lot. We could deploy a lot more capital if we were sort of incentivized to do so. And I think on the other hand, companies like us, and I'd second what Sabine says, we talk a lot with peers. We need to do more. We need to take a leap of faith. I mean, we're exceptionally conservative in deploying a lot of these digital technologies. I think the time is now. It's proven. I think we need to take the stride and go and take those risks and get those projects done. The technology is there. It works. It's proven. We need just more of it. Just do more of what you can. More digital for digital.
Excellent. Thank you to both of you. And allow me also to maybe conclude this session with my personal call for action. I think it's clearly speed. We need to be fast. And I would like to add, we need to stop protecting the past from the future, but we need to more protect the future from the past. Thank you all.
Thank you.